Now that is a sexy car behind us. That is a sexy beast. Team Mercedes really running away with it. And here to discuss Team Mercedes and their domination and their two drivers, we have J.C. Cote, F1 expert and commentator. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so what are the keys to success for Team Mercedes?
Well, Team Mercedes right now is benefiting from extra horsepower as a result of splitting the turbo into two parts. Two intakes, one at the front, one at the back, and running some drivetrain components down the middle of the V of the engine. So they're gaining more horsepower and a lower center of gravity, and therefore running away from the field right now.
Okay, so the split turbo engine is giving Mercedes the edge, I guess. But why don't other teams just copy that, use that?
Well, the engines that they come into the beginning of the season with are allocated. They have only so many to use through the year, and they're already pretty much done. So only minor upgrades can be made to the engines through the course of the season. And interestingly enough, Renault will be introducing some software upgrades to this engine to get better management of the power coming from the drivetrain to the back wheels. So expect an increase in performance from the Renault-powered cars this weekend.
What's more important, technology or the guy behind the wheel?
They're both incredibly important, but history has shown that good equipment, good aero, can usually prevail over pretty much anything else.
Okay, well, speaking of the guys behind the wheel, for Team Mercedes anyway, Hamilton and Rosberg, they've been long-time friends, but it seems like there's been a bit of strain on that relationship this year.
Yeah, they go way back. When they were karting together, there was some strain periods back then as well. And for this year, the trouble started a couple races ago when Lewis narrowly won over Nico by turning up the engine when he wasn't supposed to, and maintaining that advantage through the last part of the race. Nico wasn't happy about it, and then that deteriorated rather into what happened in Monaco. And I guess we'll see what happens this weekend. Hopefully less drama and more racing.
Drama. There's always drama on the track in F1. It's great. We love to see that, though. Let's get back to the technology side of things. There's been some new changes, I guess, to some rules in F1 with the engines, and the sound of the engines is a lot lower now, not quite as loud, but there's a lot of fans out there that miss the loud engines, right? It's all about the atmosphere, Grand Prix.
That's right. Formula One has always been about the sights and the sounds and even the smells. And David Coulthard said something very clever earlier this week. He said, "What if you showed up to a Rolling Stones concert and they came out with acoustic guitars and said, we're gonna play real quiet this week."
Right. Yeah.
People would be disappointed. So it's sort of the same. It's part of the spectacle, and they're working on a fix for it.
I love that. Yeah, the Rolling Stones going unplugged. That's just not the same, right? So let me ask you something. It seems like the richest teams always win. Money really talks in the sport.
Right. I mean, traditionally Ferrari, for at least the last decade, has spent the most. They spend upwards of $450 million US in the sport. Some of the middling teams around $200 million. There's a global spending cap that's supposed to go into place. Whether it'll happen, we'll find out at the end of June. But they've tried for years to do it. Hopefully, they'll be successful this time to keep costs a bit lower and to aid the smaller teams in being more competitive.
Just sticking with money for a second, we don't have too much time, but someone's going to have to front a serious bill to keep the Grand Prix in Montreal. What's it going to take? It's
going to take $30 million in upgrades, primarily to the pit area. The City of Montreal wants to keep the race. They're working on a deal furiously, and it's just about splitting the cost, that $30 million expense.
All right, lots of money coming into town this weekend. Thank you so much, JC, for being here. Grand Prix weekend. We're all very, very excited.